Right, oil prices have surged more than 40% since the US and Israel started this war with Iran almost 2 weeks ago, finishing Friday above $103 a barrel, the highest since 2022, and there is no sign this crisis is ending. President Trump announced the US military bombed Iran's key oil export hub, Kharg Island, on Friday night. Trump said he directed the Pentagon to totally obliterate military forces there, but told them not to damage oil infrastructure for reasons of decency. Meanwhile, traffic through the Strait of Hormuz remains all but halted. The US is sending an additional 2,500 Marines to join about 50,000 troops already in the region. And all 6 crew members died in a US tanker crash in Iraq, raising American deaths to at least 39. Let's start with the economic reality crushing households worldwide. Oil up more than 40% in less than 2 weeks. That is catastrophic finish Friday above $103 higher since 2022. Western officials tried reassuring markets, promising oil reserve releases and discussing warship escorts for tankers. None of it has kept prices down. Why? Because Iran is effectively blocking the Strait of Hormuz and traffic remains halted. Only a fifth of the world's oil normally passes through that strait. When that flow stops, prices don't tick up slightly, they surge 40%. Every penny increase translates to higher gas prices, heating bills, food costs, manufacturing expenses. This hits everyone, but it hits the poorest hardest. Trump's response: strike Kharg Island, Iran's key oil export hub. The strikes hit military sites, including missile and mine storage. Trump said he'd totally obliterate military forces but not damage oil infrastructure for reasons of decency. Reasons of decency, interesting phrase. Is it decency not to destroy infrastructure that could stabilize oil markets? Or strategic calculation that destroying Iran's oil capacity would send prices even higher? Traffic through the strait remains halted despite talk of escorts. There is no sign the US is actually using warships to escort tankers, even though they've discussed it publicly for a week. Tanker companies and insurers aren't waiting. They're keeping vessels away entirely. The US is sending 2,500 more Marines aboard 3 warships to join 50,000 troops already there. Massive military presence, but it is unclear how they'll be used. Forcibly reopen the strait. Prepare for ground operations, escort tankers. Nobody's saying clearly, here is what is troubling. The Trump administration appears completely unprepared for an oil shock, or for Iran to use the strait as leverage, even though Iran has done this before. This isn't new Iranian strategy. This is predictable response, yet the administration seems surprised, caught flat-footed by economic consequences. Trump has said repeatedly the problem would be temporary and the war will end soon, but there is no evidence it is ending. Iran's new leader vowed to continue blocking the strait. Attacks continue, and Trump can't articulate clear end conditions. He'll know it is over when he feels it in his bones. Trump on Friday tempered his call for Iranians to rise up, acknowledging they'd be gunned down. He has vacillated between calling for overthrow and accepting new leadership from within the regime. When he announced the bombing campaign the 28th of February, he told Iranians to seize power. It will be yours to take. But now he admits brutal reality. Government forces go around with machine guns. Trump said Friday. They say, anybody protests, we're going to kill you in the street. So I really think that is a big hurdle to climb for people that don't have weapons. Earlier this year, huge crowds demonstrated for change and met brutal repression. Government forces killed thousands, jailed thousands more. The human cost keeps mounting. All 6 crew members died in a US aerial refueling tanker crash. In Iraq, 13 American service members total killed. Central Command said the KC-135 crash wasn't caused by hostile or friendly fire, suggesting mechanical failure. But 13 Americans are dead regardless. Hexas CENTCOM appointed an outside officer to investigate the deadly strike on an Iranian elementary school the 28th of February. But he won't comment on reports that preliminary investigation found the US responsible. A school, children potentially killed, and Hexas won't confirm while the White House posts war memes. Hexas said Mossadegh Khamenei was wounded and likely disfigured. So Iran's new supreme leader is reportedly disfigured from the strike that killed his father. Thousands rallied in Tehran Friday for Quds Day against Israel. People chanted death to Israel and death to America, burned Israeli flags. The rally showed loyalists' continued support despite the war. Iran's UN representative said over 1,348 civilians killed in Iran since war started. In Lebanon, nearly 800 killed, over 2,000 injured. Here is the bottom line. Oil up 40% above $103. Highest since 2022. Trump strikes Kharg Island claiming to spare oil infrastructure for decency. Strait traffic remains halted despite promises. 2,500 more Marines joining 50,000 troops. Administration unprepared for oil shock. Trump admits uprising unrealistic government will massacre protesters. 6 U.S. crew dead in tanker crash, 13 total American deaths. School strike investigation ongoing. Mototaba reportedly disfigured, over 1,348 Iranian civilians dead, nearly 800 in Lebanon. Oil crisis devastating global economy, war expanding, no clear end, and Trump's strategy appears to be hoping Iranians overthrow a regime proven willing to kill thousands to stay in power. This has been The Royal Truth. I'll see you next time.